Hello, welcome to our Educating for Life seminar. This is our facilitator course, and we are in the middle of session 4. And this is the topic of praise discussion. So when we think of the word praise, that can be probably interpreted differently in different parts of the world. And so I will use that word to mean, how do you show that you admire something? How do you show that something has been done well? How do you show that you appreciate something? So that's kind of to just be on the same page when we talk about using praise in our environment. And so we're going to start by just taking a minute. You can pause this video to ask yourself, what is a common phrase that you use in your country when someone has done something well? And if you are a classroom teacher, you can relate it to that. If you are thinking of your environment in your mission or on your job, you can relate it to that. So someone has done something well, how do you praise them? What are those common phrases? There's probably 2 or 3 that right away come to your mind. So pause the video and go around your group there and share what those are. So hopefully by now you had a minute to just share those common phrases. And it could even be things that were said over you when you were growing up that stood out to you, not just what you have said to others. So now that you've kind of identified those, we're just going to have a little discussion about a common phrase in many cultures of good job. Okay, and so maybe in your own room there on your screen, you can raise your hand if that is something that you've heard often when you accomplish something, was just a simple phrase of a good job. And I want you to think to yourself, how does hearing that phrase make you feel? Do you feel encouraged by it? Do you feel noticed? Do you feel that it really captures the accomplishment that you had? Or is it one of those phrases that kind of can be overused? And it's something that, because it's used so often, that the value of the phrase itself does not carry as much weight as maybe you would like it to. And sometimes what's challenging with common phrases like that is we can use it for the littlest of things, and we can use it for the biggest of things. And so maybe, a student gets an A on a test and they hear a good job, all the way to, someone gets engaged and they're getting married and it's good job. And so sometimes a phrase that's overused does not carry the weight or the value of what we want it to. Also, I want you to think about when someone is praising you and they're using that phrase, good job, or whatever the one that you brought up in your own cultural context, is how is their body language typically when they're sharing that with you? Are they looking at you? Are they making eye contact with you? Are they smiling? Or are they kind of looking the other way and it's a passing comment of phrase that really doesn't show that they mean what the words are meant to be convening? And so sometimes that is the case. Sometimes it's even a written comment on a paper. I've been a teacher for many, many years, graded hundreds and hundreds of papers, and it's so easy to simply praise the student with that good job up in the corner of their paper. But I have learned, and I'm going to challenge you, of how we can move beyond the simple phrase and go deeper in our way of showing appreciation to our students and to our staff, so that it does reflect true meaning, and it is something that they will hear our heart behind the comment. So we're going to take a few minutes to just think about what would be some other phrases that you might be able to share. So we're going to have a discussion on that. So that's your first question, is what are some other phrases that could be more meaningful or carry more weight? And then at the same time, I'm going to give you just a few criteria on this. The more specific we can be in our praise, the more likely it's going to carry weight with our audience. Okay. So when I tell the students, good job, because they did well on a paper, they don't know if it was the introduction to their story that was so good. They don't know if it was how they built the characters up, if it was their conclusion, if it was their penmanship, if it was their accuracy with spelling. So when we just use good job, it's really not specific enough to give that student a sense of accomplishment. Rather, when we say something like, I loved the way you had a great introduction that hooked the audience and brought them into your story. And it takes more time and energy to say that or to write that on their paper, but the impact will be much greater once we go into more details into our praise. Okay, so if you can make your praise more specific, we're going to have you have that discussion. You're going to come up with some other phrases that you could say, as well as think about your body language. Think about the delivery of the praise that you give to, again, your staff or your students or your coworkers. Are you looking at them? Is there a warmness to your tone of voice? What is your body language communicating, and is it matching what are the words that are coming out of your mouth? So we're going to practice this in a few minutes as an activity and get better at it. For those of us that need a little more practice or some more ideas, some of you are probably already amazingly gifted at encouraging others, and so you can share your ideas with your group there. You can go ahead and pause and continue your discussion.